Welcome to the 25th episode of Teachers Glasses Presents Bollywood Talkies with Outlook. I'm your host, Mitrajit Bhattacharya, and my guest tonight is a singer, actor, record producer, and music composer who, along with his equally famous partner, makes superstars like Shah Rukh, Salman, Ranveer, Ajay, and Saif dance to their tunes. Presenting one half of Bollywood's number one music composer duo, Vishal Shekhar. Shekhar Ravjiani, welcome to Teachers Glasses Presents Bollywood Talkies with Outlook.
Thank you, Mitrajit. Thank you for having me on the show.
Let's start our chat talking a bit about Vishal, your longtime partner. How is he as a partner, singer, performer, and a socially aware citizen?
We were friends before we started working together, so I kind of know that old Vishal. I know that person. I kind of started my friendship with. I think that's more of a memorable kind of a scenario, because when you start with someone, when you collaborate with someone, you have memories of that thing. Right. You have memories of the time spent together in the studios and making music, and our first project. Immediately after that, doing our first advertising commercial together.
Right.
After that, setting up an entire recording studio and having no work for 2.5 years, where the only job was go to the studio and just make some music just for fun, because you have no other projects, So that whole, because both of us don't come from the film families. So, and I started with advertising. I started about 25 years ago with advertising, and I did a lot of commercials, a lot of campaigns, a lot of those jingles, which were really big and famous. And then I met Vishal, and then we started Vishal and Shekhar together with Pyar Mein Kabhi Kabhi. So, well, it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey. But I think what binds us together, what keeps us together, is our friendship and our love and trust for each other. Whether we work together or we don't work together, is the love and friendship, and something which will carry on for the rest of life.
How do Vishal and Shekhar split their work responsibilities when they are composing? Is there any formula, or is it totally free flowing?
I wouldn't call this work, Mitrajit. I would call this spending a lot of time jamming. It could happen anywhere, whether it's a recording studio, whether you're driving around somewhere, or whether we on our way for a meeting to Yashraj Studios, are we going to meet someone, or we're just like chilling in a coffee shop and we've decided on half an hour to just chill there and start work. But sometimes we end up chilling there for more than 4 or 5 hours, and then we land up composing 3 or 4 ideas right there. So it can happen anywhere. It's like co-composing together, working together, jamming together can happen anywhere.
So there is, if I get you right, there is no formula. Like, you don't bring in something very specific and he doesn't bring in something very specific, which is different from what you are bringing. What I understand, that it's a free-flowing collaborative process. You just, kind of jam up and create music together. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Both of us kind of sit together, throw ideas at each other, and then somewhere down the line, it all comes together, and that forms a Vishal and Shekhar song for you.
What are the challenges and joy of being the most successful commercial music composers of Bollywood today? And what, according to you, are the main reasons why VNS continues to dominate the music business?
Successful music directors is something which, for us, every single film feels like a first one. Every single person coming to us and saying, give us a dance anthem, he's kind of referring to a previous hit. And the pressure is equally there. It's just kind of, you got to deliver that. You got to kind of, as someone who's done dance hits earlier, and a director comes to you with a certain brief in mind, it can be your own song, and that becomes quite challenging at some point. A song like Das Bahane. And as a technician, you want to do something different. You want to try something else. Why do the same thing you've done earlier? So try a new genre, a new style, a new thing. So there are challenges in that all the time. But I think the only reason Vishal and I come up with something really special, which you guys really like, is because both of us have a lot of fun in the studio. And that fun translates. When that fun translates is when people kind of enjoy a certain, like Ghungru Toot Gaye, for example. Us, we were having a great time in the studio. We were just playing a beat, just jamming on something, just like having fun. And that kind of really translated and became the biggest song that year.
How do you identify trends? I know it might be a very stupid question to you, but I think one aspect of Vishal Shekhar music is it's probably not even trend setting. It is ahead of trend because, you are giving us new sound, new melody, new beat. So how do you identify trends, or is it again very natural and very organic? Like, do you study sound? Do you study music which is going around in different parts of the world? So what's the process?
See, sonically things change, but the meat of it all, a tune
Right,
remains, a tune is a tune. It does.
right,
And for me, my inspiration is Khayyam Saab, my inspiration is R.D. Burman, S.D. Burman, Shankar Jaikishan Saab.
right,
So that education will never stop. That will always go on. I always keep on
right.
listening to that music. I was, in fact, last week I was listening to Beatles all week. So that main education never stops. The thing is,
Yeah,
sonically sound might change. Sonically, like for example, when our song Bluffmaster came out, Ek Mein Aur Ek Tu, it was a clutter breaker in the sense it was the
right,
first mid tempo, low tempo kind of a rap song. The first time hip hop happened in Hindi film industry was when Abhishek sang Ek Mein Aur Ek Tu Hai. So when that song came up, people were like, "What are you guys doing?" Like, and that song kind of succeeded, and then everyone started doing the same thing again.
yeah.
And you got to kind of find new kind of areas to kind of have fun with, new genres, new styles. And Vishal and I don't like repeating a genre we've tried earlier. We
Right,
always like to try something which we've never done before. And
right.
that's why the music sounds sonically newer.
If I may take the liberty of comparing your music with the great RDs, because RD was always ahead of time in terms of the sound, the sonically different, like what you're trying to say. So, do you see comparisons
No,
somewhere?
I can't even compare myself to R.D. Burman. No way. No one can. No, I don't think anyone in this country is even close to Panchamda. You can be inspired by Panchamda, but he is, and he will always remain the best musician India has ever seen.
Both Vishal and you have been judges of major music reality shows on TV.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy judging? That's my first question. And how serious are these platforms in identifying commercially successful singers of the future?
A platform like that on television, which is kind of the whole world is watching you perform, is a great platform. It's an amazing platform where the whole world is watching you. That's the best demo you can send out to the world. Being on a platform like that, on the big TV channels, and a very well packaged show, I think can do wonders for give that new talent that experience, which that talent has never got before. And singing right in front of at least 100 people in a place where there are like almost 30, 40 cameras out there. There are people, there's audience, there's the judges coming there on the first time and just standing on that stage, and to make that person feel comfortable is something which, I see myself about 28, 25, 26 years back. I went on Sarigama and I was there standing there and my feet were trembling. And,
Right.
I know how an artist feels when an artist kind of goes out there and sings for the first time. So, giving them that comfort, making sure they get, you get the best performance out of them. I love mentoring kids. I
Right.
really, really love mentoring new talent. And that's what the next couple of years are going to be all about.
You have often objected against use of remixes of your song without your creative involvement and credit. Why are Bollywood and music labels so obsessed with remixes?
I had that feeling earlier. I'll be very honest with you that if the remixes are done well, they can also sometimes do better than the original track. And it has happened before, globally, just not in
Right.
India. Globally, a song which is presented in a newer way, a newer form, with better recording techniques as well as better production, can result to a better output of a song which is rehashed again or
Right.
recreated again. Unfortunately, the songs which have happened in the last couple of years have been very disappointing. There's a certain love which people have given to a song when it comes out. And then if you kind of really kill that song completely and the song dies, you've actually killed a song which was already very popular. So, that's why there's the reason I'm always against remixes, because the thing is, you're a creator, it's your baby. And when that baby goes into someone else's hand and they kind of massacre it, you always feel terrible about it. But unfortunately, the rules are such and the law is such that, once you give your music,
Right.
the label has it. So they can do whatever they want to do with it.
But have you had any constructive discussions with the powers in the movie industry who decide so that, these trend of remixing can be controlled and done in a slightly more aesthetic and better way?
I don't think they care much about it. The reason being that our audience, when they start consuming mediocre mixes, and when they start doing well, when those songs start doing well, that is exactly when more remixes are made. We need to control ourselves as consumers and not support that movement. Only then the remixes will stop. Otherwise, they will go on and go on.
I know it's difficult. Still, if I push you to choose 5 of your most successful and satisfying tracks ever that you are really proud of composing, which ones would they be?
So let's do one thing. Let's not talk about tracks. Let's talk about film soundtracks, which could have, been out there and they still get a lot of love, but they didn't become like really big as I expected.
Yeah, satisfying. Let's not talk about successful. Satisfying.
There's a film called Shabd. Then there is a film called Kahani. Vishal and I are extremely proud of the music of that. Anjana Anjani was quite a radical, quite a fun soundtrack for us to be a part of. Obviously, the commercial successful ones are all there. But when we did songs like Allah Ke Bande, Jankar Beat songs, those movies which came out back then, it was just like every soundtrack was like really, really special for us at that point. So these are the songs I still kind of play in my car and still listen to. The Vishal and Shekhar about 15 years ago.
A big supporter of independent music and singles, you have created super hit singles like Savli, Sazni, and recreated the Hanuman Chalisa and Gayatri Mantra. Obviously, money can't be the driver for these. Why did you decide to create them?
I still remember when I was doing Sazni, I met you. That is when I hung out with you, and you were very happy that I was going ahead and doing an independent single where there was no really return on investment on these things, but there's some certain kind of love and passion you have for independent music where it's your own music, and when your own music comes out, your own personality comes out. That's when music across the world is like that. Every artist has their own identity. Here, as Vishal and Shekhar, we are making music for the script, for the film.
They're commissioned work. It's
commissioned work. But where it's your own independent music, it's your style, your way of doing things. Sazni is still the most popular independent song we have in Maharashtra. There's so many fans who love this song. Savli was a music video made by Ravi Jadhav. It's still talked about. Hanuman Chalisa has become, I think, my biggest ever single across the world. I mean, every day I get at least close to 50 to 100 messages on Hanuman Chalisa. So, it feels really good to kind of do your own thing. And hopefully next couple of years, that's what I'm going to do.
Was Mr. Bachchan happy with your Hanuman Chalisa? Because he was the one who launched it and he has a version of his own. So how happy was he when he heard your version of Hanuman Chalisa?
So Mr. B has always blessed me before I've started anything. I just launched my Shekhar Ravjiani School of Music. He blessed me for that. He blessed me. The first time he met me, we were working on a song together. His blessings, his support has always been with me. And when they normally say, in the film industry, no one supports anybody like that, Mr. B has been my pillar of support since the time I started. So, I thank him for all his blessings. And when he launched the Hanuman Chalisa for me, he actually said it in front of the press, that yes, the सबसे best Hanuman Chalisa मैंने सुनी है. But I disagree. I feel his Hanuman Chalisa is the best I've ever heard.
Both Vishal and you being singers, how do you decide on which songs to sing from your own compositions and which one are your favorite songs as a singer?
What happens is when you kind of put an idea down, you put your rough vocals on a track.
Right.
Just for the director to hear it, the producer to hear it.
They're called scratches, right?
Scratches, just to get the feel of it. Our voices sometimes get locked with a certain tune. And suddenly everyone in the room feels that, okay. Shekhar, this should be your voice. You should be singing this. Or Vishal, you should sing this song. So it is it's not a decision we make. It's a decision, I think, unanimously in the room, everyone makes. Okay. So that's why we end up singing our own songs. Okay. And I think the song which I've sung for Vishal and Shekhar, I think Zain Naseeb has got a lot of love. Bin Tere has got a lot of love. Ishq Wala Love And Vishal has sung many songs for Vishal and Shekhar, and I really love his voice, his texture, his vibe is
But the great
fantastic.
part of it is like both of you are like chalk and cheese in terms of your voice and delivery. So, you do the softer ballads and he does the more energetic ones,
That's
which
what
are,
people think. That's what
oh,
people think.
okay,
The thing is, it's because I think our personalities kind of define it, or maybe I don't know what it is.
okay,
But it's like Vishal can also compose a thumri, and I can also compose a dance track right now.
right, right.
As singers,
Yeah,
I've actually growled on one song. I've actually done, full blown rock vocals on one track. And
okay,
Vishal was in the studio monitoring me singing it. I have made Vishal pretty much, I've monitored him kind of singing a ballad.
okay,
So it's just a mix
okay,
and match. Like people generally what they do is when they hear a certain style or maybe they hear a certain style of composition or singing, they kind of put you in a category. He sings loudly and you sing softly, or there's a certain he sings like really he's got a like really strong voice and you have a
right.
softer voice. But both of
Yeah.
us have done everything. So it's
Yeah, I mean, we have seen you
as
guys perform on stage. I mean,
yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
I mean, you're doing the same thing. I
we
mean,
are
pretty much, yeah.
we are jumping, shouting, screaming, and singing ballads, both of us.
So, do you like stage shows?
I love stage shows. I'm really missing being on stage right now. This would be the most busiest
Season.
season at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So we saw you try your hand in acting, that too in a large production like Nija in 2016. How
Right.
did Nija happen? And did you enjoy the process? And why have we not seen you again as an actor?
I love the process. I have to say, I love the process because of two reasons.
Just to remind you, I was in your studio when the team came from Ram
Yeah,
and
Ram.
Atul,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think that's
yeah.
the day you closed in or whatever the
Yeah, yeah,
discussion.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So Ram, I've done a lot of advertising work with Ram. I had a meeting with Atul about something, and he was going through my entire the list of singles I've done, what my plans were for the next couple of months, this and that. He said, "Man, will you act in a film? I'm producing a film, and Ram is directing it." I said, "Yeah, sure." And he called Ram immediately, and Ram was like, "Oh, Shekhar would be the perfect fit for this." And that's how it kind of started. And jamming with Ram, sitting with him, spending time with him during the whole thing, and just a few shots in Nirja, but shots which are so memorable
No,
for
but you
me.
were good. A lot of people who are not from the acting background, the famous people who come and face the camera and they kind of don't gel. I mean, that's not something which happens with them. But you were good. So my next question is it only time that you're not getting time to pursue that? Because we have never seen you back on screen as an actor after that.
After Nirja, there were a lot of movies as well as the series on OTTs.
Right, right.
I think there's a certain way of people working. They kind of they're quite close to the whole deadline of starting up a project. So what happens is if someone tells me that we're starting next month, I can't really give them the next month because I am committed to a few
So
films,
it's time. So it
or
boils
it's
down to
it's
your
it's
time.
it's yeah. The thing is, I would love to do more of it. I would love to try out something more different, something which gives me, which is quite challenging though. I want to do something. If I ever do this thing again, if I ever act again in my life, I would like to do something which is a very tough genre, which is a very tough style, and I would like to do workshops for it. Like Nirja, I did 2 or 3 workshops.
But that's
With
Ram's style of doing things. I mean, he does workshop for actors.
it's
Yeah.
amazing, and Ram and Vinod,
Yeah,
who's Ram's assistant.
that's right.
We spent a lot of time together on these workshops, and that really helped with my performance. I think it was Vinod and Ram's magic on it.
Let me put you in a spot. Name your favorites among the yesteryear singers, current singers, and some new talents you have spotted recently.
Yesterday singer is Kishore Kumar. A singer I really like today is Kaushiki Chakraborty, and a girl I'm looking forward to kind of launch very soon. I will mention her name to you in our next interview, but she is the future I see.
The one who has been training with you for some years now?
No, recently mentoring.
Talk a bit about your project which you are doing with GIIS, the school, in terms of nurturing future talents.
So GIS is a school in Singapore. It's also in the 22 campuses all over the world. I did about 2 or 3 workshops out there. I was invited for a workshop with these kids. On my first workshop, I kind of met these bunch of kids who were so well trained in classical music, whether it's Carnatic, Hindustani. I met a lot of kids who had done like 7 grades of Trinity College. I met so many kids who were like brilliant, brilliant musicians. And I was like, it was that time we spent together, and the workshop was fantastic. It was the most amazing experience I had. I was called back there again within 6 months. So I went to Singapore again, did another workshop with them. In that workshop, I kind of wrote a song with them. I composed a song along with them. So they,
Okay.
as to sing the first line, they used to sing the next line. It's like Vishal and
Okay.
Shekhar working together.
Okay.
It's like this
Okay.
bunch of kids and
Interesting.
me working together. So we did that entire workshop. That was a lot of fun. Then my friend Mr. Atul, who's the chairman of GIS, we sat together. We said, you know what, can we do this in a big scale, like a really big scale where you kind of personally, mentor these kids. I said, yeah, we could start a school together, and we started a GIS, Shekhar Ravjiani School of Music,
Okay.
where 15 to 16 students every year will be mentored one-on-one with me.
Okay.
We already started the process, and
And how do you do that? Like, is it both online and some physical meetings, or everything is online?
so yes, I was supposed to travel to Singapore, Japan, Abu Dhabi, but because of the COVID situation,
Right.
I'm doing
Right.
I'm doing everything on a call, on a video call
Okay.
with
Okay.
everybody. So,
Okay.
but amazing. There's some really truly incredible talent coming from GIS.
We're coming towards the end of the interview. I've chosen 15 standout movie albums of Vishal and Shekhar. Give me a line or two of whatever the challenges, satisfaction, some BTS moments, or whatever of composing music for these movies. What you remember as top of
Okay,
mind?
okay.
Jhankar Beats,
Vishal and Shekhar will always be known by this film.
Salam Namaste,
First film with Yash Raj where we got the opportunity to meet Yashji and Adi.
Golmaal, the original.
Blast with Rohit Shetty. Blast. It was just, I remember that studio was a party house for 1 month while the music was being made. And that's why the result was like that.
Om Shanti Om.
The day Farah and Shahrukh kind of, believed in us, the day they told us, you guys are doing the film, was one of the most special days for us and our families.
Bachna Hai Hasino.
Another fun experience with Yashraj and Siddharth Anand.
Too many good looking people around, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate love stories.
Oh, Puneet Malhotra, very successful film, and he believed in us. He always kind of Puneet has always kind of believed in us with every film of his, and especially the soundtrack of I Hate Love Stories. It's like the Hanuman Chalisa I was talking to you about. I get close to 40-50 messages on that. On I Hate Love Stories, Bin Tere, loads and loads of covers and messages on Instagram all the time.
Even I do the same. I mean, I text you from different parts of the world. If I'm
You
listening to
always do that.
Bintere, I always do that. The Dirty Picture.
Oh, ooh la la. Mr. Milan Luthria is one of the finest directors to work with, because he's got a great sense of music, incredible sense of music and poetry and lyrics. So it was great jamming with him on that film.
Shanghai. Two songs from that album will remain my top 10 of yours. Probably, unless you create another 100 better than that.
So it's Dua and
Khudaya.
Dua and Khudaya were not supposed to be in the album.
Oh my God.
Dua and
That's
Khudaya
huge.
were two songs which are added much later. Dibakar wanted 3 songs in his film. And those were the 3 songs which were fitting perfectly into his film, and we delivered those songs. But then there was a request from the label to give them 2 more songs. 2 more songs were played to Dibakar on the day music was released. I said, have you heard these 2 songs? They're also there with the film.
Oh my God.
And Dua and Khudaya are the most loved Vishal Shekhar songs.
Would you like to add a line on Arijit the singer? Because that was one of your first, I think, the earliest collaborations with him. And then obviously much later you worked with him again a few years ago. So if you could just talk about Arijit the sensation today.
Arijit as the producer, as a song producer on Happy New Year. So he came over to the studio, and his couple of his songs had released and were doing really well. And suddenly when we kind of made this song, we were like, Arijit would be the right fit for this. And he came in and he sang that. And boom, the song became like massive.
SOTY, Student of the Year, the original one.
Mr. Karan Johar. Now, when Karan says you're doing my film, I think every single technician in this country would be like, yes, we finally are doing a Karan Johar film. I think it was again a celebration, like working with Adi, like working with SG, like exactly the same feeling, when Karan said, you guys are doing my music. And the first song we cracked on it was Radha. And that was when things started like kind of flowing on that film.
And the music was really stand out. I know Karan is a big producer. It was a big set, but the music was a standout music composition by Vishal Shekhar, and I think which still stands on their own feet. So
Yeah, and
fabulous.
Karan's got a great sense of music. Great, super.
Yeah.
Like if I have to kind of play him any song, I would like, he would be the right person to tell me what it is.
Chennai Express.
Oh, Chennai Express was a lot of fun. Chennai Express was, again, Rohit Shetty and Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think that whole album was special for me because we got to record SP sir on it, Mr. SP Balasubramaniam. And we went to Chennai to record his voice, and I think that was the most unbelievable experience any music director can feel. I think the feeling of just being inside a studio where he comes and sings a song in the length of the song is the length of the time he takes to sing that song.
My God.
And one take, second take is done. It is done. It was just such a brilliant singer. God bless his soul. But such a brilliant human being and such a brilliant singer.
Hasi to Fasi.
Fasi, one of my favorite soundtracks.
And you also had Zain Nasib in that. So
Zain Nasib, some really awesome songs in Hasi to Fasi. A song that is one of the soundtracks I'd like to add to our earlier list of Shabd and the other lists I've given you. I think this album is still the most loved Vishal and Shekhar album, which is kind of, spoken about, and the songs are being referred to all the time. People, new musicians, new composers, they kind of do versions of these songs. Right. So, you get to know that these songs have lived that long and are going to continue living for a very long time.
Another very fast-tracked, high decibel, pumped up album was for Bang Bang. So, and I love the music. It went with the flow of the movie. So talk a bit about Bang Bang.
Bang Bang, Siddharth Anand always knows how to get the best out of Vishal and Shekhar. Siddharth, I don't know if I've said much about him in any interviews, but he said when he did his first film, he said, "Mujhe abhi koi bhi film meri release ho, I don't want to go to any other music director. I just want to work with you guys." Every film he comes to us.
Right.
He comes to us. He and us have spent so much time together. He's like a family member.
Right.
Siddharth and I have pretty much spent. He loves food. I love food. Everything starts with the food. Everything starts with food, restaurants. Where do we go? And then work is discussed post that. So the most important thing for him is कि हम लोग कहाँ से order कर रहे हो पहले बताओ उसके बाद हम लोग गाने में बात करेंगे. There's a certain joy of working with Siddharth. There's a lot of fun working with him, and he knows how to get the best out of it. So Bang Bang was one of those tracks. Yeah, I think that album was so special because the whole new disco vibe, the new funk vibe came alive, and obviously Hrithik did the magic also on it.
So let me jump the last one, which would come a little later, but I'm bringing it in because it's again another Siddharth Anand movie, which is War.
War, yeah.
Yeah, which even made noise in the parliament because the minister spoke about how good War did in terms of the economy doing well. So if you could just speak a bit about the music and the two recreations which were outstanding in War.
War didn't have any recreations. War basically, Ghungru Toot Gaye lyrically was the only thing which was a familiar thing from the past, because Ghungru Toot Gaye has been at least 65, 70 years old phrase. Ghungru Toot Gaye have had close to 7 to 8 different kind of renditions.
Right.
Like whether it's Piya To Se Naina Lage. So many, there are many tunes which are made around Piya To Se Naina Lage. Right. Ya To Se Naina Lage.
Right.
So Ghungru Toot Gaye was a phrase which we kind of got into the picture with a whole disco vibe. So that was really special. The sound of Ghungru Toot Gaye was really, really awesome. And then Shilpa and Arijit kind of rocked that song completely on. Like that was a really fast recording, I remember. Arijit came and nailed it. Shilpa came and nailed it. It was both together. It just, the song was meant to happen.
And you had Tiger and Hrithik kind of dancing to the tunes of this one. So
that was Jai Jai Shiv Shankar.
Yeah, Jai Jai Shiv Shankar.
And we got a very interesting rhyme from Kumar. Ki aaj mood hai bhayankar, Jai Jai Shiv Shankar. Right. And that kind of sealed it for us. We were like, yeah, this is it. This is what the song is going to be all of. That is a full dance off. And when you have Tiger and Hrithik, You got to kind of create the best dance anthem.
I've just got last two movies which I want you to talk about, Sultan and Befikre.
So Sultan was our first Ali Abbas Zafar Salman Khan project.
That's right.
You know what happens is after spending so many years in the business, people ask you, okay, yaar, have you done a film with Salman Khan?
Correct. That's why I introduced introduced you by saying you have covered all the...
So that came in much later in our lives. Much later. After many films. Okay, have you done a film with Mr. Salman Khan? And now you can say, yes, we have done a film. We have done films now with Mr. Salman Khan. Sultan is one of my favorite commercial albums. As a total, means if you hear all the songs of Sultan, means I love every single song of Sultan.
Right.
Every single song of Sultan. Again, that experience was fantastic with Ali Abbas Zafar and Mr. Aditya Chopra, as usual. The film kind of was exactly made the way the script was narrated to us. That's why everything came out so beautifully, the music and the visual together, and the whole film together. Lots of love for that music, even till now. Befikre, again, the wow moment, but a different wow moment, the biggest wow moment. Let's put it that way. Salam Namaste was Adi calling us meeting him, and Siddharth Anand was the director of the film. His first film, Salam Namaste, Adi was producing it, SG was producing it. Here, Adi actually called us to his room, which is on the topmost floor of YRF. And I've been to all the sections of YRF, but never to that upper floor, and always wondered that there's SG's cabin there, there's Adi's cabin there. Never been called up to the fourth floor. Vishal and I were called up to that floor, and we went into Adi's cabin. We sat down there. And Adi very humbly said, "Yaar, मैं एक छोटी सी film बना रहा हूँ. क्या आप लोग music करोगे क्या उसका?" We were like, "Are you asking us? क्या आप music करोगे?" Means yes was the answer before we entered the room. Yes is the answer in the middle of the night. So Adi directing Befikre was, I think Vishal and I did a jump as soon as we left his cabin. I think that was a soundtrack, was the most amazing, the most unbelievable experience with a director. The reason I say this, and I don't think I've said this before in any interview, was like Adi said very clearly, कि ये मेरी पिक्चर की स्क्रिप्ट है, इसको आप लोग पढ़ लिया, अच्छा ठीक है, एक काम करते हैं, हम लोग 15 दिन, you guys sit in the studio, and according to the situations, wherever you feel, you start making tunes. But only 15 days. It shouldn't be 16 days. वो 15 दिन के बाद, I will hear everything. Okay. Then we give a month's break. Okay. Then we come back in the studio again. Again, you guys give me 15 things in 15 days. Yeah. I'll hear that. At the end of that 15 days, मुझे मेरा soundtrack मिल गया. Thank you so much. I'm done. So he knew exactly what he wanted for the film. That's when Nashe Se Chad Gaye happened. That's when Ude Dil Befikre happened. Jatem happened. All of that stuff came such an effortless, so much of fun, and such a beautiful process working with Adi. And I think every single music director out there should work with Aditya Chopra because he is the most amazing person to work with.
What's next from Vishal Shekhar?
Lots of things in the pipeline. Can't announce anything at the moment, unfortunately. Okay. But once we have something, I think that's the time Vishal and I will make those announcements.
Just short one-word answers. We are coming to the end. Favorite concert location in the world?
Mumbai.
A location you would like to perform and you have not performed?
Australia.
Favorite city in the world?
London.
Places on your bucket list? You can name 3.
Alaska, proper Africa. I want to go into the jungles of Africa.
Yeah.
And I want to go to Mexico and South America.
One thing Kutchi in you?
Every single thing Kutchi in me. I'm very proud to be a Kutchi and Kutchi Gujarati.
Thank you, Shekhar, for talking to me on Teachers Glasses Presents Bollywood Talkies with Outlook. Take care, stay safe, and see you super soon.
Thank you, Mitrajit. Hope to see you very soon. Great chatting with you. To cut the story a little more into a brief answer, I would say that, I was working with a very close friend, Mr. Raj Kaushal, who I did a lot of ads with, lots of ads before Raj directed his first film, Pyar Mein Kabhi Kabhi. And he asked me to do a few songs on it. He said, Shekhar, I want you to sing on this. I want you to compose two songs for me on this. And then I started work at Farhad Wadia's studio at Breach Candy. And I used to go for my recordings in the day. And one day I was wrapping up at about 7:30 because I start early and I finish late.
Right.
It's been like that since 25 years now.
Right.
So when I finished my recording, Vishal walks in. So I was like, hey, man, what are you doing here? He's like, what are you doing here? I said, I'm working on Raj's film. He said, so am I. I said, great. He said, come, I'll play you some music. I said, I'll play you some music too. And we heard each other's music and we were like, yeah, this sounds fun, man. Maybe we should do this together. I said, yeah, sounds like a great idea. And then we did the title track of Pyar Mein Kabhi Kabhi together. And that's where it started. It seemed like a lot of fun. It seemed like we were having a good time in the studio and we thought, let's start this association together and let's see where it goes. And then after a couple of years, Jankar happened.